welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about the books that changed my life. So I've always loved reading, but it wasn't until I would say 4 years ago where I really started to deep dive into my own healing journey, self-help journey, spirituality, all of that. And I read a bunch of different self-help books, spirituality books, things of that sort. So I just wanted to share with you guys some of my favorite books that really helped me to change my life, really helped me to make practical changes and apply them to my life. And they're also just really good books, and I feel like everyone should read them. So the genre of the books are pretty much nonfiction, self-help, spirituality. There are some women health books in there. So let's get started. This is in no particular order. The first book I'm going to show you guys is this one. It's called Attached. It's by Amir Levine and Rachel S.F. Heller. The new science of attachment theory, and breaks it down into 3 different attachment styles. So there's anxious attachment style, avoidant attachment style, and secure attachment style. So these different attachment styles are pretty much how people will show up in relationship, not just romantic relationship, but also like platonic relationships and all relationships in general. And it really goes deep into each attachment style and kind of how that attachment style is brought up into that person, why they have that attachment style, and like different behaviors and actions and things that can happen when you do have a certain attachment style. Like I said, there's anxious, avoidant, and secure. So secure is like the healthy one. Like we all want to be securely attached, you know, but because of life, because of, childhood stuff, trauma, all things like that, we may have developed a more anxiously attached style or a more avoidantly attached style. Anxiously attached people are often people who are preoccupied with their relationship and tend to worry about their partner's ability to love them back. Avoidantly attached people, they equate intimacy with the loss of independence and constantly trying to minimize closeness. They more push away and pull back, while anxiously attached people kind of hold on really tight. Securely attached people feel comfortable with intimacy and are usually warm and loving. We all want to be securely attached to have fulfilling and loving relationships, and it gives you exercises for each attachment style, so it helps you kind of heal your own attachment style to be more secure. And I feel like this book really did help with just being aware of my attachment style, being aware of how I showed up in relationships, and also how I was showing up for myself, because relationships and your partner, your friends too, everyone is just a mirror. It's a reflection of you. So it's important to understand how you show up in relationships and how you want to show up to have healthy and fulfilling relationships. Definitely recommend this book to everyone. All the books I'm gonna show you guys, I recommend to everyone. I feel like everyone should read. But yeah, this definitely is worth the hype, and I feel like everyone should read it. The next book is by Louise Hay, and it's called You Can Heal Your Life. I love this book so much. This book is like my favorite. This book pretty much talks about different ways to control kind of your thoughts, your emotions, and how you feel to better your life mentally and physically. If you're not if you're not with the woo already, when you first read this, it might be a little bit like, wait, what? But trust me, stick with it. Stick with this book. This is honestly one of my favorite books of all times. I love this book so much. I try to reread it every year because it's just such a good book to It's such a good reminder. You know, there's so many good reminders in this book. It really tells you how you can heal your life. Like, it does not matter what you went through in the past, what happened to you. Like, everyone has the chance and everyone can live a really happy, healthy, and fulfilling life. It does talk a lot about your thoughts and what you say and what you think and how important those things are. And it does go a little bit into healing your body. So Louise Hay, we love Louise Hay, rest in peace. She also has another book called Heal Your Body, which I also recommend. This book touches a little bit into it, but it pretty much discusses how physical ailments, physical disease, a lot of it can be healed through loving yourself. And I know that might be hard for a lot of people to digest. Like I said, it is a little bit woo, but trust me, stick with it. It's such an amazing book. There's so many different exercises in here to really reprogram and to really like peel back the layers of yourself. Like an onion, you gotta peel each layer to get to your true self. But there's so many different exercises in here that help you to understand why you have certain thoughts and why you have certain beliefs about certain things, and if those certain beliefs and thoughts really do resonate with your true core or if they don't. So this book was just really helpful in knowing myself, healing myself. We all have trauma, we all have wounds from childhood that, you know, come up, and it does affect us, you know, later on when we're in our 20s and higher, you know, 20s, 30s, 40s, it doesn't matter. But once you're able to really understand yourself, like understand your wounds, understand your traumas, heal them, and you just feel better, but you also just feel a new sense of self, if that makes sense. Like, you really are able to lean into who you really are, your true core. Like an onion, like you're peeling back the layers, and the middle is like your true essence or your true core. And the only reason we have all of these layers is because our mind, our body trying to protect us. So when certain things happen when we're young, or even when we're not young, like we automatically are like, oh, well, I need to protect that. I can't let that happen. So this is who I am. But, you know, truly that may not be who you really are, like the true essence of who you are. So I don't know if that was kind of a rant. She also talks a lot about affirmations. Louise Hay is like the queen of affirmations. I feel like everyone should read this book at least once in their life because it's so important. And I also feel like especially women, men too, of course, but especially women need to at least read this book at least once, because it's just so important. As women, you know, we go through a lot in our lives, especially living in this society. So I think it's so important for everyone too, men and women, to at least read this book. And this is the book that I recommend to all of my friends. They're like, what book do you recommend for like healing, self-help? I'm like, this one. Like, just if you're gonna like get a book, and if you're kind of like, what book should I get, and you're trying to like start your healing journey, your self-help journey, I always recommend people to start off with this one. It's such a good like foundational book, and it is just amazing. And I love Louise Hay. We love Louise Hay. Rest in peace, Louise Hay. And she did her thing with this book. The next book I'm going to show you guys is called Womancode by Elisa Vitti. This is what it looks like. You guys might have already heard of Elisa Vitti. She has another book called In the Flow. That one is really popular as well. This is one of her first books she wrote, and this one pretty much talks about natural ways to be in sync with your cycle, live a healthy life like through your menstrual cycle. She gives a food-based program to help rebalance your hormones, and she talks about 5 key things that are important. The first one is stabilizing your blood sugar. Blood sugar is very important for overall health. It's one of the main pillars, in my opinion, you know, for overall health and well-being. You need to learn how to be able to stabilize your blood sugar, regulate your blood sugar, understand what causes your blood sugar to spike or, you know, dip, and really be able to stabilize it. It talks about nurturing your adrenal glands because those are so important, especially in the endocrine system. She talks a lot about the endocrine system as well, pretty much like the whole endocrine system, and how we need to support the organs of elimination because that is also really important when it comes to healthy hormones. You need to be eliminating, you know, the old so it doesn't get reabsorbed by your bloodstream. We don't want that. It also talks about syncing your menstrual cycle to your life. So cycle syncing, she does touch a little bit on fertility awareness, the fertility awareness method, which is pretty much a natural way, a natural birth control. Cycle syncing your cycle with your life. I plan to do a whole nother YouTube video because that's a whole nother like topic in itself. It's so informational. There's so many things within it, but this book does cover it pretty well. If you want to dip your toes in the water of women's health, this is a really great book. I really feel like every woman needs to read this because especially in our society today, women's health is viewed as such a negative. Like whenever people talk about their periods or even pregnancy and birth, it's like, oh, it's so bad, it's so horrible, I'm in so much pain, like da 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 da. And personally, I believe that it's not supposed to be like that. That's just kind of like other people's different perspectives and also kind of the patriarchal society making us be like that. But she also does talk about engaging in your feminine essence, which is so important. And I loved that she also brought that up because normalizing periods and normalizing like healthy periods that are not very painful and normalizing healthy pregnancies and birth that, you know, are not the worst days of people's lives, I think is also very important to start to create this kind of talk. It doesn't have to be so negative. It doesn't have to be so, like it's horrible, because it's like, if you think about it, it's what makes us a woman. Like it's what makes us feminine, is being able to have periods and being able to like carry a baby through full-term pregnancy and birth. Like that's such an amazing thing. And I feel like the patriarchal society kind of makes us women like hate it and view it as a negative, but it really shouldn't be viewed like that. Like we should love that part about ourselves because that is what makes us so feminine and like so beautiful. And yeah, so she does talk a little bit about engaging in your feminine essence, and there's a whole food-based program in here to help rebalance your hormones. It's honestly a really great book. So many different tips. One thing I learned is that people are not getting enough fiber throughout their day. So what I learned from this book is to, and I still do this like to this day, every morning, is to take some ground flax seeds. I just do organic ground flax seeds, and I do like the darker kind because I feel like that one's better. And I do that with some warm water and a little bit of apple cider vinegar. You don't need to do the apple cider vinegar, but I just like to do it because it actually does help to regulate your blood sugar before you eat a meal. If you take a little bit of apple cider vinegar, your blood sugar will be like more stabilized. But anyways, I take that little mixture every morning, and it really helps with my fiber intake, helps with my bowel movement, because you know we have to support the organs of elimination. So there's just so many little things I've learned. As you can see, I've like marked up this book, but this is such a great book. She also has another book called In the Flow, where she really talks more about cycle syncing and different foods to eat for your cycle, the different phases for your cycle. So I also recommend that book, but I also recommend this one because this is very foundational. So every woman needs to read this book. The next book I recommend, I don't have with me because my friend is actually reading it right now, which makes me so happy. You're getting so excited. It's called The 40 Rules of Love by Elif Shafak, I believe. And it is such an amazing, beautifully written book. It is a fiction book, but it like covers spirituality in such a beautiful way. The main concepts of the 40 Rules of Love is Sufism and love. Sufism personally is very interesting to me. I align with it the most. Reading it in a book where it was like a fiction book, but it's also like they're speaking truths, speaking real, you know, like truths and things like that. It was so nice, so beautifully written. It's just an amazing book. I don't want to like say too much about it because I don't want to spoil it. Because it's too good, you guys. It does talk about Rumi. If you guys don't know who Rumi is, he was a Muslim poet. Rumi was like a real person, so it talks a little bit about Rumi and the Shams of Tabri, and they become like friends, and it talks about like their companionship and the things that they've learned, but they word it so beautifully and talks about the 40 rules of love, and it's just like so good. Like, I love that book. That's such a great read. Like, I feel like everyone will love that book. It's so amazing. It's such a great book, like, especially if you love fiction, but you also love spirituality. It is such a good book for you because it's the perfect combination of both. I also recommend this book to everyone because it is beautifully written, an amazing book, and you will feel so satisfied and so good after reading it. The next book I'm going to talk about is Atomic Habits by James Clear. This also received a lot of hype on social media, and for good reason. This book really is a really good book. It pretty much teaches you how everything in your life, like everything you do, is a habit, and it teaches you how you can form new habits, break bad ones, and also just master tiny little behaviors that allows your life to just elevate and just be better. It gives practical ways to apply certain things to your life. Like, one thing I learned from this book is called habit stacking, and it's pretty much if you want to start a new habit or if you want to do something, you habit stack it. So you stack it with something you already do. So let's say everyone brushes their teeth in the morning, right? And let's say you want to be more fit. Since you brush your teeth in the morning already, you do something while you're brushing your teeth, like 30 squats or something, to help you get more fit. When you drink your water in the morning, you also will add salt in your water for added electrolytes for better health, and you take some supplements along with the water that you drink every morning. So that is one thing I learned from this book, habit stacking. There are a bunch of other tools and tips that he gives, and I really love this book. It's so good. The way it was written is so easily digestible. Like, it's an easy read, but it's also very, like, it makes sense. It's practical, and the tips he gives are very easy to apply in your life, very applicable. I recommend this book to everyone. I recommend, of course, everything, but it is really good. Next book I'm going to show you is Eternal Sunshine by Londrell. If you guys don't know who Londrell is, he's a spiritual poet, artist. He makes a bunch of spiritual music, and we love Londrell. I love Londrell so much. I remember when I first discovered him, when I was starting my self-help healing journey, I would hear some of his audio through, I think it was TikTok or Instagram, I can't remember, and I was like, what is this? This is the best thing ever, and I am just obsessed. I love poetry to begin with because I'm a very deep person, very passionate, so I love being able to read such passionate things through words. Words are so beautiful if you think about it. Poetry is just so beautiful. I love poetry. So Eternal Sunshine is pretty much a collection of Londrell's poems. He has more. This is just one of his books. He made these poems into music, so you can actually listen to Eternal Sunshine on SoundCloud as well. It has the most beautiful poems, so beautiful. I would listen to some of them, literally start crying. It's just so, it amazes me how he's able to bring so much emotion, so much passion, such beauty into just simple words, but the poems he makes are so beautiful, and his voice is also really nice, so when he sings them or says them, it sounds really nice. I recommend this book to everyone. Londrell is just so amazing. If you love poetry, get it. One of the quotes from this book I'm going to read to you guys, he says, "I leave light in these pages so that you may find happiness in your darkest times." The last book I want to show you is The 4 Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. This was one of the first books I read when I was starting, my healing journey. And this is a really, really good foundational book. It's very simple, a very easy read, and it is pretty short, so it's not like a super duper long book, so you can go through it pretty quick. I really, really loved this book. It was really well written. I'm gonna read you guys the 4 agreements. So the first one is to be impeccable with your word, speak with integrity, and say only what you mean. The second one is don't take anything personally. Nothing others do is because of you. What others say and do is a projection of their own reality, their own dreams. And that is so true. Like, everyone's just projecting most of the time. Some people are like really grounded and, know how to like say things without projecting, but like most of the time, what people are saying, they're just projecting their life, out, The third one is don't make assumptions. Find the courage to ask questions and to express what you really want. This one really like stuck with me because I feel like before I would just assume so many things, but I realized how that's so not healthy for your brain. Like, it's not good to assume things because you really don't know. So instead of assuming, like, just ask, or like, just don't assume, because you never know what's going on in someone's life. And the last one is always do your best. Your best is going to change from moment to moment. It will be different when you are healthy as opposed to sick. So just always doing your best. Yeah, I really, really love this book, and I feel like it is a great book to read. It's very foundational for your self-help journey. So those were the 7 books that changed my life. I really hope you guys, read some of them. You can also follow me on Goodreads. I'll link it in the description box. If you guys don't know what Goodreads is, it's pretty much like a reading/book social media. So you're able to see the books that I've read, the books that I'm currently reading. And yeah, so if you want to follow me on Goodreads, I'll like leave it down below. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys read some of these books. If you do, let me know which ones you love, and that'll make me really happy. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!